Hi people, my name's Ben, and I wanted to go over Hive components and boxes and frames and bottom boards and inner covers and telescoping lids. So we're going to start with the frames. So this is a standard deep frame. It's deep because of this length right here, which is roughly 9 1/8 inches. These are all Langstroth Hive components. This length is going to be standard all the time. That doesn't change. What changes on different types of frames is the depth. This is a medium, this is a deep. They make a shallow, which is about here. They make a jumbo, which is down here. But this is what I would consider standard. This is called black plastic wax coated foundation. This one happens to be yellow. So it's just plastic with little indentions like cells and wax for the bees to get started. Foundation sits in these little grooves right here. This is not the only type of foundation. There's wax foundation. There is no foundation. There's a wax strip. It's called a starter strip. This is how a frame comes unassembled. 4 pieces. You can buy them assembled. You can buy them unassembled. Basically, they go together very simply. You just push them together like this. Put the little legs on the top bar, and you put the bottom bar in like this. They can be nailed, they can be glued, they can be stapled with a pneumatic stapler. However you choose. People do it all different kinds of ways. So that's your frames. You got your deep frames, you got your medium frames, you got your shallow frames, and you also have your jumbo frames. But this is definitely what commercial beekeepers use, and this is what I prefer to use. Keep them all the same, keep it simple. And now we're going to move on to the boxes, which are these, 3 of them. Here's one right here. This one's a 10 frame box, and it fits the medium depth frame. Inside here, this is the end piece. You see how it has a frame rest that the frame sits right on. That's on both the front and the back, or the end pieces. Side pieces are just pieces of wood. This type of joint is called a finger or a box joint. See how it has the fingers and they go together with corresponding fingers on the other side piece? This is a deep box. It's in 4 pieces. It's a rabbet joint. It's a different type of joint than we have here on the 10 frame. This is an 8 frame box. It goes together like that. And it can be stapled, nailed, glued, whatever you want. And it goes together. They have handles on them, just like that. Now we're going to move on to the actual hive itself. And feel free to throw your equipment around. It's not going to get beat up. It's just wood. You can paint it. See, this is painted. Not on the inside. This is a telescoping cover. It telescopes down over the top of the box. The way I have this hive set up, this is a inner cover. There are no bees in this box on this hive. This is for an airspace and to put a feeder jar on. So you can take a feeder jar and put it on there and get you a block to cover up that hole, and the bees can feed through this 2 small feeder jars. So your inner cover, inside is full of frames. They have nothing in them because they're not with bees. Some of them have foundation. Some of them have white foundation. It's wax coated. You can see the wax on there. Some of them have popsicle sticks with wax. Some of them have monofilament fishing line with wax. This could be your second box if the bees were in there. This would be called your brood box, but it's still a deep box, and it's 8 frames wide. It sits on top of the bottom board, which is a 2-sided bottom board. The difference is the height of the opening. So you put your box on top of your bottom board, straighten it up, make sure it's lined up. If you have a new colony, you can use an entrance reducer to help the bees defend the entrance. This is actually for a 10 frame, which would fit this size box. Or you can just use a piece of wood, and it gives them a small little hole to come in and out and defend. So say we have our bees in there. Put your inner cover on top of the bees. You can put your telescoping cover on top of your inner cover. But there's all kinds of configurations you can do your hive. It's up to you. So that's one way. If you have more bees, put another box on top. It could be a deep box, it could be a medium, it could be a shallow, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Then you can put your inner cover on, but you don't have to use inner cover now. You can just put telescoping cover on. It's up to you. So you put your inner cover on, bees are inside, put your feeder on, cover up the holes with a screen or something. Now you're keeping your feeder jar out of the sun. Put your telescoping cover on, and your bees are happy and living in the box. It needs to be lined up. So now we're going to talk, we talked about, this is a 10 frame wide box. These are 8 frames, which I prefer 8 over 10, but that's your choice. Then we're going to talk about a 5 frame box. Boxes can come in all widths you want. Pick and choose. I have 2 frame boxes, I have 3 frame boxes, and that's the width, not the depth. I have 8 frame boxes, 6 frame boxes, 10 frame boxes. And even on a 10 frame, you might only put 9 frames in it, but it's still made for 10 frames. This is a 5 frame box. This is a different kind of bottom board. It's called a screen bottom board, so the bees can breathe. That's your choice. This is just a deep box, like the 8 frame, but narrower. It's 5 frames. And this is just a feeding or migratory type cover. It sits on top. You can either put a feeder in there, or you can close it off with a piece of metal or a lid to a feeder. That's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to go over. I just wanted to talk about the different types of boxes and give you just kind of an introduction to basic bee equipment and hive components. Thanks so much.